So just to make sure everybody can hear me, I do have kind of a big update. I mean, it's big for me. I think it may give you guys some things to ask about, think about regarding Pastor Bob Joyce and the Elvis Presley theory and everything that we're continuing to watch play out. So I finally had to update my phone. It was a few years old, and I wait as long as I possibly can. And my speaker died, which for me as a musician was kind of like the last straw. So I got a new phone, which means now my microphone that I lovingly used for the last year or so is incompatible. So I'm using the iPods, and I'm hoping that with the new phone, it's working well. Hello, Christy, Irma. Can you both hear me okay? Hopefully loud and clear. It does help to be inside, actually. And if you're just joining, yes, I do have a real update from bobjoyce.org to yours truly. So let me prep it. Okay, loud and clear. Awesome. Hello, Christy, Pam. Nice to see you all. I am relaxing in the chair, as you can see. Exactly 7 days ago, I finished my 2.5 months of chemo, and I'm feeling a lot better now that a week has passed, and I know I'm going to feel that much better in another week. So, yep, it's all good. It's nice to have a new phone. I didn't buy the newest, fanciest iPhone. I don't need that. I basically just got the next level up I could. And yeah, the old one was dying, so it's nice to have a fully working phone. Okay, so let me prep this. So last year, somewhere around the fall, let's go with September, October, our channel here, this channel, we started, well, I had already dove in pretty deep with the Pastor Bob videos, the theories on the various apps. Anywhere I could find stuff. I was on X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, of course, Rumble, any place where I could find tidbits of information, I was finding it and I was piecing it together. So this started a few years ago. Let's say 22, 23. It might have been 23. And so that's when Pastor Bob and the Elvis theories came on the radar for me, was somewhere around there. And I mentioned that also a lot because I was never really an Elvis fan, really as a musician or as just an everyday listener. And so I didn't worship him. He wasn't an idol to me. I just thought he was a great musician and performer, basically. And I acknowledged that and moved on with my life for my entire life. But I actually came to appreciate his skills and was surprised at how much of a gospel singer he was just in 2023 or so when I started researching about the theories. So coincidentally, there's a lot of haters out there. Not a lot. I mean, it's actually a small number. I would say 5 to 10% of those who watch and comment on this channel or others that are similar who have negative things to say, and that's about it. And really no evidence, nothing else to really add to the conversation, just the hate mail. So besides all that, like I said, I started to appreciate Elvis Presley more and his life, his struggles. I wouldn't want to go through that, just the kind of person that I am. I wouldn't want that kind of fame. I would get burnout constantly. And so I could really sort of see myself in his shoes, what he went through, the good things that he did and bad things that he did. He's not perfect. And most of us here do not worship him, but we see him now, what we believe, as a reborn man of God for decades already. And that's what we're seeing. Um, there's always that door that I leave open of, man, what if it's not true? But it's like, how many coincidences before it's mathematically impossible to not be true? And there's a lot. There's really a lot. So, with all that being said, from roughly 2023 till present, uh, myself, like many of you, have been researching, casually watching videos, and just like, wow, how can all these things, um, how can all these things be lining up if he's just a small town pastor from Arkansas, right? Why did George Magazine kind of adopt him with Gene Ho? Why was he invited to Mar-a-Lago? That is not a place where you just, hey, let's just invite that guy. He's a good pastor, right? Um, no. And then, of course, all the photo ops that he's had at his church or with other people, Charlie Ward, some politicians, and other people surrounding you know who president. People that are close, people that we would consider the inner circle, including family of the president. So, and sorry if I don't say a lot of hellos right now. I'll catch up with you guys because I don't want to get off track. So, let me kind of finish this story now. So, the last 2 years, that's what I've been doing personally. Of course, making the content and the videos. I want to share it. It's fun with me. I'm along for the ride in the story, just like the rest of you. I don't obsess about it. It doesn't consume me. Whatever we find out, I'll be like, okay, wow, that was quite a thing that happened and what we witnessed. And now we know the truth. Hooray! And I wait for that day, like I think the rest of you. So, what I'm getting at now is that throughout these last couple of years, okay, now we fast forward to 2024 fall, like I said. September, October timeframe is when I decided, you know what? This is fun. I'm probably going to keep researching it anyway. I have a small team that helps me do content as well. Great friends. They do a great job, whether it be music or the other content. Let's keep this channel going. Let's share what we've learned. And so last fall we started doing that, as many of you know, and many of you have been interested, following along, and I love it. We're all in this together. And so around the time I started, maybe a month after, give or take, in the fall, I wrote my first email or two to Pastor Bob and or the church. There's a couple different emails on bobjoyce.org. Didn't hear anything back at all. Wasn't really surprised. Hey, maybe they get so much spam or, I wasn't surprised. And then somewhere around the beginning of this year, once I started having, let's just say, a whole lot more free time, I got my diagnosis, the dreaded diagnosis, January 7th, and then everything changed after that. I was spending a whole lot more time at home, but not necessarily in a good way. And I started, thinking more, deliberating. Do we want to keep the channel going like this? Do we want to just keep doing the same videos? The answer was pretty much yes. But I started sort of second guessing how much to post, right? Because as many of you know, anybody who's looked at this channel very closely or the playlist, there's other playlists and other things that we've posted. And mainly it started with my original music, relaxing piano instrumentals, the worship music, the 432 hertz music. That was my main passion and original reason for starting the channel. So I realized that it kind of half shifted, not overnight, but it shifted to being the channel kind of focused to Pastor Bob Joyce, right? And I kind of didn't like that because I felt like that's what, perception is reality. So people watching the channel, they see Matt Savina name, but all they see is Bob Joyce videos. And I get it, I understand it. It wasn't how my life changed or my focus changed to Bob Joyce, not at all. But that was the perception. And of course, some of the commenters were quick to point it out too. And, think that it's just all about the views and all about Pastor Bob and the scam and the fraud. And so, I can easily write most of that off, no problem. But there was February, March going by, and I decided to write another email, uh, very for sure this time, making sure I wrote to the church and Pastor Bob's personal email address, which, as far as I know, it is because it's listed on bobjoyce.org, right? So I went to the official sources, like you should, and go to their website. There's all kinds of frequently answered questions, whatever they title the page, and they answer the questions on there, their official answers that they want out there. So you should read those if you haven't already, because whether, I guess I'll just say, whether you believe the answers or not, those are the official statements that they want all of us to read. Okay. So now to finish the story, we're almost there. Now, just a week ago, I searched through my emails because we all get spam. Stuff gets buried like crazy nowadays in email, unless you mark it VIP or however you do it on your phone. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a search for Bob Joyce emails and see if I missed something. I thought I searched pretty well in, I don't know, the hospital, at home, in my thousands of hours of just getting treatment and recovering. Last week, I found an email from when? January. So I was wrong. I think it was January, maybe the last time I wrote, or after. Anyway, so I found an email from January, and it was from them. It was a verified email. And so, without me saying verbatim what they told me, basically how shall I say, the official word, the preference of what they'd like me to be doing with this channel as far as videos is, and sorry if they're listening, they're not really particularly tech savvy with social media, with the videos, and honestly, maybe not even fully understanding the reach. I've said that before, um, about how far these videos reach, how far they go to different platforms, and how they just multiply like rabbits, right? And so I'm just a part of that. Some people think of that positively or negatively, and again, I've asked myself all of these questions along the way, and decided at different benchmarks which route I was going to go with the channel. And okay, so basically, the response was that they don't want me to copy and paste content, basically, which a lot of people have been doing profusely. Okay, and I'm guilty of that too. Is it really guilt? Um, well, there's a fair use sort of policy that's kind of generic with social media and the internet, that you can use content like short amounts without it being sort of a hit on you, whether it be community standards on YouTube or legally in court if it came down to that. and I'm not worried about that. The email was very respectful, by the way. It was not threatening in any way, and it was actually really refreshing how everything was phrased. But in a nutshell, um, hello everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm gonna catch up with you guys as soon as I finish this story, which is almost over. And so the intent, the request from bobjoyce.org, I'll just leave it at that, was that uh, our channel, my team that I have, that we stop just copy and pasting and posting. Even if we sort of rebrand it in some way, make it more interesting and all that. So that was that last week? It might have been this week. I've totally lost track of time because I've been a little bit out of it and tired this week, recovering. So what does that mean? Well, maybe you haven't really noticed any difference with the channel really, but the last couple of days we have officially changed as far as we're not just going to copy paste household of faith church content. And I'm kind of bummed about that because I enjoyed doing fun things with it. But I can still use it. I'm just going to have to uh, maybe like you've seen other channels where they just take little clips and then they put in their own commentary. I have never really been like the on air commentary kind of guy. I've gotten used to doing the live partly because I enjoy the interaction with you guys. I enjoy the questions. I enjoy this community that we have here that's really grown over the last year. It's been amazing and a blessing to me. But um, I'm gonna miss just doing the videos the way we have been because sometimes, I find a video and it's just I want to post it and share it. And they're not going to post it on the Bob Joyce YouTube channel, of course. They're just going to post the music services, the sermons, and new music, old music, right? Everything that's on there. Um, but I do fully want to support Pastor Bob Joyce, and my emails were, I try to be very clear that even if they don't really agree with the theories that and the information that we're putting out there, that um, I do really support everything that he's doing and always put the word out on the street that nobody should be pressuring him to do anything. I mean, assuming we're correct on it, he's 90 years old. He's a pastor. He's a great speaker, performer, gospel singer, and he's blessing so many of us like crazy. So, and his reach, his influence continues to grow. So it's kind of like regardless of what little me does with the channel and the videos and whether I try to influence you guys one way or another, his influence is going to grow. That's if I'm going to make any prediction about this Pastor Bob Joyce Elvis story, is that Pastor Bob's influence will continue to grow to the point of it's amazing. He's not Elvis, or he is. And you guys all know that I think that he is. And the similarities, coincidences, musicianship is it just seems way more unlikely that he's not at this point than he is. And if you guys check out our Bob Joyce and Elvis Presley playlist, wink wink, on this channel, which is almost 400 videos already, I can't believe, then you're going to see dozens and dozens of things that are just like, how can it not be true at this point? So, and that's the point that I got to, and I know pretty much all of you here coming, watching, and sticking around with me feel the same way. So, is that the end of the story? Is that the end of the story? Just kidding. There's nobody over there. I think that's pretty much the end of the story. But so it's kind of funny because a week earlier, I just decided I was going to focus the channel completely on Bob Joyce. I was like, we got two channels now. We got the MattSavinaMusic channel just for music, and then the MattSavina channel can just be for Bob Joyce because everybody's already there watching Bob Joyce videos. So it was literally less than a week before I decided that, bam, let's do this. And then I found the email from bobjoyce.org to me. It was addressed to me, and it was a late response, and I apologize for never seeing it, But like I said, it was a very cordial and friendly email, non-threatening, and I was happy to finally see it because it's been going on 9 months now since we started really posting the Bob Joyce content and theories, music, and everything. And I truly did want to get some feedback from them, but I kind of figured it might take a while as well because, like I said, the amount of spam emails that they must be getting is probably ridiculous. So, probably once in a while, that one person who's ever focused on replying sits down and, I don't know, goes through 1,000 messages. Who knows? But so let's see who we got here. Some of you, let's see, how far should I scroll? We got Christy Robinson, Tim Connor, Scooby Lynch, Bert. Welcome, all of you. David Wants and 56. Helen, welcome. Yeah, Helen said, have you considered just maybe he could be the son of Elvis Presley? I hear that one sometimes, and I just haven't seen many theories or evidence online that would make me line that up, that possibility as much as just him being Elvis himself. Is when it comes down to his age, everybody that goes there in person says he looks like he could easily be 90 years old. And I've seen enough pictures and videos too of more close up that I think he could be 90. And so the age thing and the son, I just haven't seen much that would make me think that. Like hardly anything. All I've seen is comments and people saying that it's his son or it could be his son. But then when you add up things like his sermons, the stories he's told, how he makes it sound like it's back in like the 1940s or 50s when he's talking about growing up and stuff with his mom or dad, just, those dots connect there. They don't seem to connect for him being 60 or 70. And then the big one that I always throw out there is that his Pastor Bob's first, or Bob Joyce's first public album that was released, I'm trying to remember the name right now. Somebody out there knows it. 1990. Bob Joyce is on the cover. He's already got a fully gray beard and hair, just all gray. And so I think when I did the math on it, he would either be 38 if he was just Bob Joyce, or he would be like 52 or 54 if he was Elvis Presley. So he looks like a guy in his 50s in 1990. Not just the gray hair and beard, which is a big hello, why are you gray already at age 38? It happens to some people, yes, I know, I get it, but it's rare. It's like the Steve Martin kind of early gray, right? It's rare. But besides that, his face looks like 50s, not 30s. So I hope that answers your question kind of about how I feel about the son theory, the son of Elvis. Yeah. Thank you, Irma, for the support. I'm glad the chemo's done too. Feeling a little bit better every day. David S. Swanton, 56. My question is, if Bob Joyce is not Elvis, Why does he not do a DNA test to prove it? Okay, about the DNA test. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, first of all, if we're saying Bob Joyce is Elvis Presley, he's 90 years old. Okay, he's a pastor. He's been one for over 40 years. He was ordained in the early 80s, like 81 or something like that. He's reborn. He's all about teaching us about Jesus and the gospel. He does not care about that past life at all. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to go back to it. So, if you believe that much, then why would he even want to open the door to the conversation? You know, the moment you even step into that conversation and go public, that, oh, okay, all these people are asking me to take a test, so I'm going to take it. It's going to be national, it's going to be world news. You know it, I know it. That's just maybe not how it should be, but that's common sense reality. That's how it's going to happen. So if it was me in his position, that position, I wouldn't touch it with the 6 or 10 foot pole either, because I don't want to go back to that world. I don't want adoring fans going crazy at my church, not just on Sunday, but Monday through Sunday, Sunday through Monday, whatever, or Sunday through, you know what I'm saying, Sunday through Saturday. So the DNA test, like, I just don't even, there's just no need. There's kind of no point. He does not want to prove that he is Elvis, or even prove that he isn't. It's like a lose-lose sort of situation, the way I see it. Unless, and I do believe this theory, that there is coming a time where it will be publicly known about Pastor Bob, who he really is. And some say there's a book coming out, like by 2027. From my point of view, that's all hearsay, speculation, rumor. I don't know where that came from. I would assume at this point, if that was a solid theory, I would know more about it and I would have seen more. But all I hear is just it casually being mentioned. So it could be the legit word on the street, and Pastor Bob is just keeping it close to the chest, and it'll come out when it comes out, or upon his death. It seems kind of grim to do that. I don't know if he would do that or not. It's possible, but I personally, this is just speculation. This is just my rough prediction. I think there will be a certain time that has been pre-planned for certain things to take place beforehand, that he will be able to sort of come out of the protection phase, that witness protection, or and there's reasons for that the certain president has mentioned, and things that are supposed to be coming in place for celebrities to basically just, I can't think of the right wording right now, but to not have any legal repercussions, for, it could be years, decades of, you can call it going into hiding or whatever you want to call it, that they can go back into public life safely, as safely as could be expected. But see, that's what we're talking about. A lot of this has to do with safety and security. And so you can't just say, hey, take a DNA test, because it's not that simple. There's a lot more things that are going to happen that are going to be out of control, out of your control, once you take that step forward. And of course, we know Pastor Bob is trusting the Lord. He's got to, for um, being in the middle of all of this, regardless of where you're at with everything. Daniel Morris, welcome. You said, I love the worship music. That's awesome. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already to the other newer YouTube channel we have, it's MattSavinaMusic. And it's a brand new channel, but it's totally devoted to worship music and videos. stuff to inspire, bless you, stuff you can listen to while you're making food, eating food, working, relaxing, driving, and get away from all the same old contemporary Christian stuff that it's like the same 40 songs over and over again. That's the reason why I started Grace Wave on another place, which is a contemporary Christian radio station. And that's why we started doing just more songs, more videos, is to make new music, original music, based on Bible verses and Bible topics, so that they can keep us in that right frame of mind and the right focus. And so please hop over to MattSavinaMusic when you're done here and give a subscribe. And that's all you got to do to support. And I appreciate it. Joe Chavez says, "Bruh, it's Elvis." I agree with you. And Joe said, "Unless YouTube sues you, there's little anyone can do if you upload videos to the site. You fall under section 203. You sound more knowledgeable than I am." What I've learned from other people that train about the legal stuff about YouTube, and really social media in general, is it's kind of out of my hands and everybody's hands. It's if YouTube decides something, they like something, they don't like something, they'll do it. I actually thought my channel was going to go bye-bye. Was it earlier this year or last year? I can't even remember. But there was something that came up, and I had to make a video for YouTube, just a private video, and sort of lay out, hey, this is what my channel does. This is our goal. This is how we do it. We're legit. We really are. And they accepted it. And I felt like I kind of had the support from them. But like I said, what I've learned from others who are more knowledgeable about the legal side than me is we're kind of in the Wild West with media right now and social media. And people are just posting stuff. Yes, there's tons of channels with it could be AI, fully AI generated. You'll never see a face like you do with me. Hey, I'm an actual face. And I show myself to you. To show you that I'm real. There's a person here who prayerfully considers what we do and how we support Pastor Bob, and that we don't worship him. He's a person just like the rest of us, with a great voice and great musical skills. And he's very charismatic. He's a great teacher, speaker. But at the end of the day, he is he's part of our family of God. He's a child of God, just like the rest of us. And that is sort of one of the recurring messages that I want to make sure keeps going out there from me directly, because I can't just post a video. I can't find a video on the internet that really says that usually and post it. I have to say it myself. And that's kind of a shame, really, but that's how it is. Elaine Peterson, thanks for joining and all your support always. Joyful Dolphin, he is, I don't know what your emojis are trying to tell me, but I know you're a fan. I know it. Irma, thank you. And Joe, also, you said, dude, you're going through the darkness. If Pastor Bob videos give you joy, then post them. Awesome. Thank you. And that's kind of the point I got to as well. Can you give me a favorite hug, Elvis, for me, please? Jackie Organ, if he doesn't want people saying that he's Elvis, he needs to stop singing Elvis songs and mentioning him in his sermons. Yes, thank you, Jackie. Thank you. I often forget about that side of it, but Pastor Bob has a side of this too. And I have mentioned that a few times about he chose to be a public musical artist and pastor. And hey, going into ministry, that's not easy for anybody. You're going to have spiritual, physical, mental challenges. You better put on the armor of God if you're doing anything Christian leadership wise. I know as a musician, someone who just led worship or was even just in the band, we would have spiritual there'd be a fight going on. Not every day, every Sunday or every service, but um, there's definitely a battle there. Even if it was like getting up in the morning, something simple, getting ready for church or the service, or I don't know what it could be anything. But there were things that were just like, it shouldn't be this hard. But the enemy is always trying to find a way to stop us, stop our progress, pull us away from God and everything. Um, so, yeah, who was that? Yeah, Jackie. Thanks for saying that because it was a choice that Pastor Bob made, and so as long as he stays in that public realm, then, like I said, his influence is going to grow. The haters are going to grow. There's going to be more of them that pop out along the way, and that's just how it is. And it's just like when I made the choice to go more public and face to face with my lives, the channel, social media. Uh, my default is an introvert. I don't know about you. Most of us fall clearly into introvert or extrovert, one or the other. I can be kind of both with my personality, but I had to learn how to do that over many years, and it took a lot of practice too. But my default setting is introvert, which just means like I like the alone time to recharge. I I don't recharge from people like extroverts do. And where was I going with that? So it was a choice that I made, right? To be public. I knew there was going to be challenges. I knew there was going to be spiritual, mental challenges and physical, the energy part. But I decided it was worth it. For me, it was more important to be a positive influence, uh, to share things I've learned, to share stories like kind of what I'm doing today, and to put myself out there because that is part of how I wanted to serve, not just as a musician or worship leader. I love doing that, but it kind of became even more of a passion for me, to be more of an influencer, if you want to call it that. Um, Really, just from the many things I've learned through life, most times the hard way. Um, but however I learned them good enough that I knew they were right things to share. So yeah, once you choose the public life, you better be ready for it because you're going to get the negativity and all those things. Daniel Morris said, 2 Corinthians 5:17, new creature, new creature in Christ, and that's right, and that's a great thing to be, to just repent, be saved, and know that God's got your back no matter what comes up. Things may get rough and tough, but you can rely on Him to be there, just like I have this year through cancer, the second time, and this time actually being much more serious, much more complications and issues than the first time. The first time was almost like a walk in the park compared to this year. But I've been able to trust Him and count on Him, and He's seen me through. So that's a great thing. Okay, so I want to wrap it up here, but Cynthia Sawyer, thanks for the love and prayers. I appreciate that. Um, and I want to make sure I mention in any longer video like this. Thank you all again for the prayers and support this year because uh, it was really rough at times. I'm thankful to be doing way better now than I was, but it's still a long process and a journey. It's been a long year for me since January 7th, and but there were many times where some of you commented or prayed for me, and it made all the difference in that moment because I really feel, you know, the family that we have and the people. that were supporting me like you were, and all the friends and family. I really appreciate it so much, and it's really blessed me. Okay. Joe Chavez said, I've worked in media for 25 years. Do you really think YouTube, Google spends one effort with gospel talk? No, the robots are definitely working overtime nowadays. So that really just adds to the mystery of, the channels and who they may have problems with. But hey, Belinda, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Lots of comments. I got way behind. Okay, I'm getting caught up a little bit now. Belinda said, we could care less if he is or isn't Elvis. We love Pastor Bob for who he is on Matt's channel. I'm in Benton right now waiting to see Pastor Bob again this Sunday. God bless you, Matt. That's awesome. Well, let us know how it goes. If and when any of you go to see Pastor Bob at his church, make sure you update us on how it went. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you all for listening and supporting as always. This channel, MattSavinaMusic, and our newer channel, MattSavina and MattSavinaMusic, the newer channel. Thank you very much. I will see you all again soon. Until next time, take care and God bless.